Hey everybody, welcome to Tattva Tuesday. This is Lindsay Work, the conduit on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, here with my friend and soul brother, Hance Carver, the man on the path. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. This is a new way to do Tattva Tuesday, because usually I have this just on Zoom, but we decided to converse in person, so this is a totally different and intimate experience.
I'm a huge fan of facial expressions, and I think that not speaking over top of each other and facial expressions in the middle of the conversation really lets you know where somebody's at. I feel like it tells a much more thorough story.
I feel like we're on our own TV show.
We are.
I think we are in general. But also we have this amazing flower of life backdrop with, the green and the purple. So the masculine, feminine energies. So this is so exciting. As you all know, this podcast is called Tattva Tuesday. Tattva is a Sanskrit word that means truth. And so we're going to talk about Hance's truth and Hance's spiritual journey as well, and his conception of God or source. So we'll just start at the beginning with what is your, let's talk about your spiritual journey. How did you get on
it? It really started, I would say I was a young child, probably 3. I had been drugged by a car and had lost my ability to walk when I was about 1.5. And I remember being really, really sad about not being able to walk anymore because I had just learned to walk. And my knees were rubbish, my toes were rubbish. I had been drugged for about a mile, 40 miles per hour. So I had spent a lot of time in bed thinking. And when I came out of bed at 1.5 years old, almost 2. Somebody handed me a marble egg, and I don't know if it was marble, I don't know, rose quartz, I don't know what it was, a baby. And when I held that egg, I remember everything tingled in my entire soul, and my soul was bigger than my body. And honestly, this is weird, but it was like an old man was taking his fingers and rubbing on the back of my head. And I enjoyed it very much, even though there was nobody else there. I don't want to say, yeah, there was an old man rubbing my head. I was 2 years old and I had an egg. But so I knew from that moment on that there was so much more to life than most people understood. And I knew about it. I didn't know it had anything to do with the stone. I didn't know it had anything to do with chakras or energy. I just knew that holding that egg shouldn't electrify my entire being the way it did. And it started like that, and it was slow and steady. We moved around a lot. I was raised by an alcoholic addict mother, so there was lots of violence, lots of abuse, lots of all the bad words that you can think of were going on. And as a young kid, I learned to be more of like a social butterfly, to not just make friends, but to feel whole. Mm-hmm. And after years of that, by 13, I was diagnosed narcissistic disorder at 13. And that was after being a narcissist for years. So my ego was overinflated. And actually, when I was diagnosed narcissistic, they told me the definition, and I thought, why isn't everybody narcissistic? What is the definition?
Can you, excuse me, I feel like narcissism is thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
And so can you define it for us?
Yeah, it's not just thinking of yourself better than everybody else, like self-seeking. It's also thinking that you walking through life is more important than anyone else, period. Like your path through life is more important. So other people's emotions, other people's actions, other people's desires absolutely mean nothing. the only thing that matters is what you can take out of it. And of course, there's a lot of self-seeking behavior, a lot of selfish behavior wrapped into that. But you honestly, as a narcissist, other people's emotions are of no concern. Instant gratification is a concern. And even delayed gratification is a concern. I want what I want and I want right now because I'm better than the rest of the world. And I honestly, when I heard that definition, I thought, why isn't everybody like that? That seems like that's the way you make it in life. And my attitude, my actions continued like that. By the time I was 16, I was actually having conversations around the kitchen table like this, but I was the only person talking. And people would come from other cities just to hear me speak. There was a time from 17 to 20 where I wore white all day, every day, for all white for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I walked and I talked and I spoke to people and I did lots and lots of drugs and drinking during this time. You know, it was, I was so empathetic that when I heard other people dig at each other or make jokes about each other, it would hurt me emotionally to where I would find myself sitting alone in my bedroom crying because of the way the world treated the world. You know, it wasn't just my friends, it was everybody on the street. So I found that the way to counteract that empathy was drinking, drugs, and ego. So I started having sex with as many women as I possibly could. And that made me feel better. It's that same instant gratification. But on the other side of instant gratification was always suffering. Like I was always suffering on the inside, even though everybody.
That just reminded me of the time that I was, this is amazing, but I worked at Princeton University. You probably don't know this about me. Years ago, and I put in my name to go see the Dalai Lama when he visited, and I got it. I got the ticket. And there was only a couple of us faculty that could go. And he said something that I will never ever forget. He said, short-term pain, long-time peace, short-term happiness or short-term pleasure, long-term pain. And that's like that whole
that's exactly
theory of instant gratification.
It's funny because when I think about how I lived that, I think I came up with that. Like instant gratification only brings suffering, and service to others only brings joy. But I mean, there's many a times when I'm being of service to others and it does hurt and it does cause suffering inside of myself. But suffering is just as important as joy because it's that sweet without the bitter. There is no such thing as sweet if you don't have bitter. There's no such thing as wonderful, happy day if we don't know what a pain is. And so suffering and joy are two sides of the same exact. And if I want my life to always be joyful, then I have to embrace suffering. And that's how I embrace suffering now. It's not just what lesson am I learning, but oh, how wonderful another moment to grow. And that makes suffering just as joyful as joy. And it really does. It works like that.
It does work.
It's like I was reading something this morning that said a sad thought or a bad thought first thing in the morning ruin your entire day. And when I read that, I thought my life is based off of the perception that if I have a happy life, that means even when suffering and painful things and bad things come into my life, if I'm immediately onto the solution, then my life is always positive because solutions are full of positivity, even though they hurt sometimes. But sitting and dwelling on the problem is only suffering. And do I want my life to be full of suffering or do I want it to be full of positivity? You know, so I mean positive on a regular basis. And sometimes it makes me a little pretentious. But that's okay. I'd rather be foolish and joyful than super smart and miserable.
That's true. That's true.
So with that path, after my teenage years, and like I said, I was having these conversations around the kitchen table a lot. I started writing some books, and people really started respecting me. My ego took off and went crazy.
And you were still drinking and.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got sober the first time.
Okay.
At 23, I had a daughter that's 22 years old now, and for 20 of her 22 years, I was. So there was some times in there when I drank again. Here, but pretty much most of her life, I had been sober. It's pretty good because
Amazing.
I went home from a concert and said, and I got kicked out of the concert, and it was a 311 concert. 311's my birthday, so it all meant something to me. And I got kicked out of the concert on 11/3, and I got in a fight with the cabbie on the way home, and I went into my tent to my wife and said, "We need to have a baby," so that I stopped drinking. So within a week, she was pregnant. And we had a baby, but that pregnancy, it was really, really bad. I was drinking more than I ever had. My guts were kind of falling out. I was bleeding internally and suffering really, really bad. And I was taking all the suffering out on her, smacking her around and pulling her hair, being drunk, and just being an evil individual, cutting myself and spraying the blood on her. I was sick, and I didn't know how to be anything different. I was still overflowing with narcissism. I didn't care what she thought. She was like a tool or an instrument to me. No more respected than say a hammer or a cording strip. It's just where my mind was at and how alcohol had grabbed a hold of me in every way. I didn't say this, but I started drinking before I held that egg. So I was drinking around 1.5, 2 years old. And by the time I was 5, it was becoming regular. When it was 7, it was not every single day, but most days at 7 years old. I was working in a meth lab, scraping trays, and I would get paid in beer. And that's just like by the time I was 13, I'd done every drug you can name. Not a drug that I hadn't done by the time I was 13 because I had started doing drugs at a very, very young age. So the alcohol and the drugs for me to get sober at 23, it was time.
Yeah.
And for getting sober, the 12 steps, they really take you on a spiritual journey. I tease all the guys that I work with now and say this book is just an idiot's guide to God.
But it's a channeled work.
And what's wonderful
it's
about
amazing.
that, and I don't know if you know, Maya Baba was giving a talk in New York City, and everybody said, the seventh incarnation, what is it that you're doing for the world as the seventh incarnation? So what I do is talk. He said, there's somebody down the street who's going to touch millions of people. And it just so happens that down the street, Bill W. was giving this very first time.
Whoa.
Not even a block away from them. And Bill W. and Maya Baba had never spoke, they had never met, nothing like that. No Bill W.'s name by any means. He could just feel that the world was going to be changed by the way that the guy was tossing down the street. Because, energy has no bounds. So he could feel the energy.
Yeah.
Feel the passion.
Yeah.
And I don't respect Bill W. on a huge basis either. Yeah, he's a great writer and awesome con man and a great promoter, more like Spike Lee. But he did set a spark that ignited in the world.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I haven't really shared too much of my own story on my own podcast, but I've been, in and out of sobriety since I was 17, essentially. And so right now I have 60 days sober as we're recording this. So it's like, I'm very familiar with Bill W. and familiar with the program. And I think it is a channeled work. And I think it is a direct guide to God.
Despite Bill W.
And I've seen people like you just shared things about yourself that, you probably saw it on my face.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that about you.
Oh, yeah.
And I love you more than a lot of people.
Mhm.
Like I love you. I see what you do for the community, and to hear that coming from you triggered the fuck out of me because I just went through a crazy experience. And then I'm also like, holy shit, like look at how God has shifted. And that's why I do this podcast. That's why I've always been a seeker of God and truth. And it's amazing to hear that you went from that low type of vibration, the lowest of the low, to like where you are now. Like it's powerful.
Mm-hmm. It's strange that to become as strong as you possibly can be, I think suffering is
part of the path.
It's the most necessary thing.
I agree 100%.
And if you think about Buddha's story, he was a king, or next in line to be king, and he saw that there was people living differently than he was living, and he saw that they needed help, and he knew that he couldn't do it from the place he was at. So he took off all of his clothes, dug up a dead body, put on those clothes, and that's when he walked. I think he did do some speaking on the way, but that's when he walked to the Bodhi tree and sat down for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And on the other side of those 2 weeks, he became the Buddha of love and wrote the Dhammapada, which is writings that were written. And he inspired a walk. Buddhism isn't a religion; it's a practice. He inspired a practice that just teaches people to get closer. And that's the great bodhisattvas like Jesus, like Buddha. That's what they had, the ability to cross over at any time. But once you have that ability, the only thing that's possible is to stay in health.
Yeah.
That's what a bodhisattva's path is. Like, once you have the ability to enlighten, your only next step is an enlightenment. Is to help bring others to enlightenment. And I don't think that I'm a bodhisattva by any means, but at the same time, the amount of suffering that I took in my life, it was weird. I was even in sobriety. I was 7 years sober. So it was 8 years ago. I came across some of the worst pain that I've ever felt. Jail. I found out that my 15-year-old daughter at the time had been cutting on herself. My daughter had been taken out of state with my wife, soon to be ex-wife, and we went to the mall because that's something me and my daughter used to do together because I've always raised my daughter. It's been me and her since she was born. And I came across a fortune cookie that said, "Gratitude is the father of all virtues." I didn't really know what virtues were, so I looked at the definition. I heard patience is a virtue. So I didn't even know the definition of virtue. I looked up virtue and said, so to walk on earth with a heavenly quality like gratitude or patience is phenomenal. So I said, how many virtues are there? Thinking there was 12 or 18. I came across a list of like 260. And I was suffering. I was spending most of my time during the day crying. I was going to work every day, standing on the ladder doing my job, crying. And everybody thought it was weird. And I cried. And I kept crying. And I kept crying. And I kept crying. I had this form of suffering in me that I'd never felt before, in sobriety. Mm-hmm. So without alcohol or drugs to numb the pain, I read every single one of those definitions. And when I came across reverence, it reminded me of holding heaven. And I don't know why, because reverence basically love the world is comfort. The world is reverent, love it in. The world is me, love it in. The world is love it in. And that amount of love to be reverent of earth, reverent of its people, reverent of the vibration that its people bring, that changes you. Mm-hmm. I met Sarah about 6 months after that, maybe a little bit, about 6 months after that. And I told her when we met, my wife, Sarah, that I was changing. And I wasn't changing for her, but I didn't want her to be concerned or confused 6 months from now because I was going to be a totally different person since she met. Because I was working on myself in a whole new way that I've never felt before. And I just didn't want her to think that all the new stuff or the new changes I was making was me faking being with her. I
Oh,
was trying to be sincere. Like, yes, I'm
Yeah.
going through a lot of changing.
yeah.
And I want you to know that at the other end of this change, it'll be a better man, not a worse man. I just want you to realize that I'm not faking anything. I'm not lying about anything. I'm rebuilding myself, all because of the definition of the word.
All
I
because
knew-
of God showed up for you in that fucking fortune cookie.
It's fucking magical.
Yeah,
just so
I feel
happens-
like crying, but I
Yeah.
don't want to. I'm fighting it.
When I brought, when me and some other guys got together and decided to make a men's group, I brought a bunch of cool names to the table.
We should share also that Hance is one of the founders of a men's group in the Myrtle Beach area called Reverence. And so I wanted to share that as well. And
Yeah.
also his wife, Sarah Nicole of Twisted Goddess Tarot, Twisted Goddess Crystals, and like wearing all her stuff. She's amazing. And a beautiful tie in there is that she was my first ever Tattva Tuesday guest. And also, like you shared your transformation with her. In my actual birth chart, she's like, you need someone who can keep up with how much you transform because there is a new you all the time. So I love the parallels.
Yeah, and that's
All of it is connected. All of it
really
is
is. It's
connected.
all connected.
I have this tattooed on me, like literally, like
So do I.
we're all connected. It's amazing. So yes, continue. This is a beautiful story.
So, when we were creating the men's group, some 6 years later, I brought some really neat names, because I was kind of going off Sacred Son. So I was like, using 2 words and using a spiritual word and the word that means meaning. And I had like 5 of those names. And then at the end, I told the story about reverence and what reverence meant to me and how reverence had changed me. And it was unanimous. Not one person voted for any other name for the men's group. They all wanted it to be reverence.
And you say what it means to you, what does it mean to you, and then what is the actual definition?
Well, reverence is loving the world despite what it means to me.
Which makes me want to cry
Mhm.
right now.
It's funny because I always bounce it off of what Rick and Morty say.
I don't know what we can more say.
You're both pieces of shit, and I care about you less equally. If you need me to, I can prove it mathematically.
Literally, like
And that's what reverence means to me. It's like, no matter how much I don't care about the demons of the world, love them anyway.
right now it's triggering me.
Yeah.
I mean, not triggering, I don't know, it just makes me, it's opening me. It makes me want to cry. It's like when we do kirtan and I am love and you are too, it makes me tear up every time because no matter how much someone has hurt you, if you can view them as like a child or they are a child of God, no matter how much they've hurt you or done that. That's what that lyric brings me to. Like, I am love and you are love too, even if you are a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And
You're
that's
still love.
fuck.
Yeah.
And that's hard in practice
And
sometimes.
every loving meet is part of our path and part of our journey, and every piece of shit we meet is part of our path and part of our journey. Like without them, we wouldn't be who we are. And that's
100%.
like I've had the molestation, I've had things like that, and it's like, I have ditched dead bodies, and those things, without them, I wouldn't be me. So despite whatever it is that's happened along the way, I needed every single bit of that to be right here, right now, with you, speaking.
Me too.
Yeah. If I
Me
wouldn't
too.
have
60
walked-
days.
Yeah, 60 days. Who would have
like-
thought?
I wouldn't have thought. And it's like, it is amazing
When
when we can view life that way.
people ask me to speak as the old timers.
Yeah.
And I only have 15 years.
That's
I'm
a
46 years old. It
that's
really
a
is. It seems like a
time.
lifetime to me. It's a part of my life, but at the same time, it's like I still feel like that year-and-a-half-old kid or that 13-year-old kid or that 17-year-old kid inside, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, I've done some adult things and I have an adult business and I pay my adult taxes sometimes. But I pay my taxes.
Pay his taxes. Don't worry.
Hello, Mr. IRS. I pay my taxes.
Oh, why are we like this?
But I'm still like,
Sarah Sarah was sitting, but she had to go.
Yeah, she's like,
Hance is a Pisces, and I'm a rising Pisces, and it's just like, maybe it's, yeah, bless her. We love her.
It's I don't know where we were at.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Reverence.
Yeah,
We're talking about
Reverence.
reverence and how the guys, you all agreed on the name. There was no contest or
No, it was
conversation.
unanimous. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like they were
what a
all just
beautiful
in.
thing.
Because of what reverence meant to me, it also meant something new to them. And I guess maybe they were inspired that not just the definition of reverence, or reading all those virtues or anything like that inspired them. Maybe they've seen the way it inspired me, and they loved that about the communication so much that they knew that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I tell my story a lot from
Yeah.
and it's almost like it rebooted me back to that 17-year-old independent kid. But now I have new tools with meditation, breath work, with guiding others. You know, to be reverent or to aim at being bodhisattva, you have to realize that service to others brings true joy.
Yeah.
Despite what it takes out of you. And don't get me wrong, I don't hang out with poisonous people that just are out there to poison, because they'll come to be.
You will go to their level before they ever come up to you.
And at the same time, they have to have a need before I invest my soul into changing. Like most people don't want to be changed. Most people want to live in the matrix, and they would fight you to be out of it. Period. You know, and it doesn't matter if you're talking about the Matrix as Keanu Reeves' best-selling movie, or if you're talking about the matrix in between atoms, the energy that actually makes electrons move. That's how what was his name? The father of quantum physics.
Is that Isaac Newton?
Not Newton. He was father of gravity. Right? Yeah,
I don't
he was
know.
sitting under the
One
tree,
of
and
them.
apple hitting him in the eyes.
Not
Apple.
Einstein?
No,
No.
it was somebody you probably haven't heard, like Hector, Oprah, something like that. A little short name, father of quantum physics.
Oh.
And he said at the bottom of every glass, you know, at the beginning of quantum physics, you know, there's, by the time you get to the bottom of the glass, you know that everything has a creative intelligence, and that it is God.
Yeah.
That quantum physics shows you that the power of life, everything grows the same exact way because everything is connected. Mm-hmm. And whether it's that dark energy that makes the electron move around the nucleus of the atom, or whether it's the fact that no matter actually exists, everything is just vibration.
Yeah, and frequency.
We see the vibration, we see the frequency.
And then our brains.
They create a hologram on the planet. Is this what we're seeing? There are creative constructs
So
like
does my brain
the
make
sky
you
is
look
blue.
different than other brains?
Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. You live in your own reality 100% because your perception and your holograms, you look different. There are, and the way that this works, a creative construct, or agreed upon construct, the sky is blue. You see a blue sky, I see a blue sky, 100%. How do I know your blue isn't my red? Yeah, we see the same color, and we know how we connect to our color.
This is what's happening right now.
Showing off our board.
Yeah, this is our. I think mine is a girl though. Look at her head is smaller.
Yeah.
I think it is a girl.
I got the old man.
The old man's over there. We'll grab him. As we're talking about these crazy, crazy things, This is our alien family. This is an amethyst with tiger eyes, and then that's Subterranean, and then are those labradorite eyes? Yeah. So this is our vibe right now. I just had to invite them to this conversation. Yeah. How do we? I had this thought today actually because I'm waiting tables right now again. And this woman says to me that, oh, you look carbon copy like my friend, like she's beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And I had this thought, this very thought today. I was like, what if like I look different to everybody? Like I look like her friend to her, but to the man she was with, I look like a totally different woman. Or to you, I look totally different. And it's crazy because that thought came in as I'm waiting tables running around. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Because I've had so many people say that to me. You look like blah, blah, blah. You look like this. Like the other night, one of my tables said that I looked like Drew Barrymore. And I was like, do I look like Drew Barrymore? Like, it's like that weird concept of.
Well, the thing is, once their perception tells them that you look like their friend, you look more and more and more like their friend, the more they look at you.
Yes,
you know,
amazing.
And maybe you don't look like her friend, but she smelled a certain smell while she was eating her pizza or whatever, and she glanced up and it reminded her of a friend, and as soon as she looked at you, all she could see was her friend in you.
It's amazing.
Or maybe your accent, or the way you said a certain word, or the nose ring, or the eyebrows, or something kind of clicked in her to her. Oh, that looks like Alyssa.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Not that Alyssa's
a great name.
Weird that it came to my mind, but
yeah, you never know. I literally thought about that today though. I was like, that's so interesting because so many people have said that to me. And I thought maybe I am a shapeshifter, like because maybe I am the shape or the whatever that people need to see at that moment.
Or the vibration.
Yeah.
All they're seeing is vibrating atoms anyhow, no matter
Yeah.
So, I mean, despite the fact that we're all living in some kind of a vibrational field, whether you want to call it third dimension, fourth dimension, whether humanity as a whole even exists, what is there's a saying that we're all just an experience of God experiencing himself. Whatever that creative intelligence is that made us is. And a lot of the books actually say that we are God's children because he needed somebody to worship. Not because he wanted to feel love. And how would you feel love if you were? You would create something that loved you.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people buy dogs,
I love my dog.
Yeah, I love my dog. We're the saddest dog on earth.
She's like, oh.
So sad.
I know.
She knows we're laughing at her.
I feel like we're on a TV show, but we don't have I can't be like, okay, guys, pan the camera.
I know. I want to hear in front of the studio audience and laughing every time.
I know, the applause sign goes on, up over here. But I think we show. This is great. But yeah, that's crazy. I started. I just completed this positive intelligence program, and the guy talks about neuroplasticity, which has been a source of my personal fascination for a couple of years now, because neuroplasticity is when you actually change your brain pathways, and you do that through getting into your theta brainwave state, meditative state, and then going into memories and choosing a different outcome, but not like Men in Black, choose, not like that, but a way to heal.
Yeah. And
so I'm now obsessed with neuroplasticity, and I want to learn more about the brain. And so I don't know, it's just fascinating to me that you mentioned that and perception. But
I studied genetics as a kid for fun, genetics and quantum physics. Yeah. And I took a bunch of courses because every course that major schools like Harvard offer, you can take online for free. Of course, you don't get a doctorate at the end.
But you can take it.
Yeah, I've listened to a lot of professors discuss quantum physics and the different aspects of it, and a lot discuss genetics and how we're made up and how everything is stored in our DNA. But if our DNA is just vibration too, it's almost like we're programming our DNA as we go. Cells have memories just like crystals have memories. memories, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing, even though we destroy ourselves on a regular basis and we throw them away, and something like 240,000 reborn every single day. Like, the memory from our DNA is automatically restored into new cells. But we're actually changing our memory with our DNA every single day. Even if there is no past, there is no future, it's all one linear. You know, the only thing that's real is the present moment.
Yeah.
So as long as the present moment is the only thing real, then right now is when we are us. When you try to remember,
time?
yeah,
Time's
Not
not.
really.
Yeah, no, not really. I also want to circle back to your comment about suffering being part of the path.
yeah,
So I feel like I have gone through a lot of suffering, and I feel like pain is my greatest motivator. And I also wrote an article years ago called "Pain is the Alchemy of the Human Spirit," because pain is that pivotal moment where you make the choice to change or not. You know, or not. You stay in that vibration and you can keep in your cycle of pain, or it will push you to that next level of ascension, really. And I've had this debate with many people that, like, I don't know, I do shamanic work, and for years, like, I doubted my own shamanistic properties or whatever, but I had my fingerprint analyzed, and she said that it's in my DNA, like it's in your DNA. And so I kind of made peace with the suffering as part of the path of doing shamanic work. But yeah, I mean, just like you said, without the suffering, we wouldn't be here in this moment right now. Like, it would have been a different timeline for me. And sometimes recently, I mean, you know what's going on with me, I cry and I'm like, did I choose the wrong timeline? But there is no wrong.
no, those are the timelines that are going on with us.
Yeah,
right now. And in that timeline, you're probably asking, did I choose the wrong timeline?
Yeah.
Because you're all time, everything, everyone, at every moment, all the time. So even if, like, it's just reincarnation, you know, and part of our soul is transformed into the grass, and part of our soul is transformed into another human. You know, we become another human for a while, or it's that. I lost my train of thought, but even if it's not, even if it's just one soul and it transfers, even if we're not broken up into pieces, we still are us. And they say that eventually we are everyone that's ever existed. Everyone that's ever existed. Time.
Yeah.
Eventually I'll be you looking at me right there on the couch, and eventually you'll be you looking at it. You know, eventually you might be Karma, or eventually you might be Sarah. You live in the same thing. You know?
Yeah.
I hear some people say,
oh, I've heard that too.
and I'm like,
and you're a Pisces, which is the end of the line.
I was like, he's sort of dead. Buddha was a dud.
Yeah.
Mayababa was a dud.
Maybe they were the same.
Yeah.
Maybe they were the same.
They consider, well, Mayababa considered them all the same. Toth was the original, and Toth came back as Hermes. Toth came back as Hermes Trismegistus, but Toth was from Atlantis, so it says. And to be an Atlantean, you could live.
I was there.
30,000 years to 280,000 years, just depending on where your vibration was at the time. Same thing with Lemuria. You know? I mean, there's so much that's hidden from us, not just with the Lemuria, what the pyramids actually are, things like that. There's so much more hidden from us. Just it was just 200 years ago where there was a great civilization purpose, and there was actually videos and flying ships and things like that, and they told very well. There's stories about the mud flood where there was great Egyptian buildings here in the United States. There was great Greek buildings here in the United States. They buried it and tore it all down after it was buried because they didn't want that kind of technology getting out to regular everyday humans. Same reason they buried Tesla, or they buried the 3 people that have created the water car. You know, they don't want us being more than what we are. If you look at our
same with the well, I don't know if we should talk about that, but I feel like we're here. yeah, they don't want us to know our own magnificence. That's why there's AI and all of this, that, and the other technologies.
Yeah, my daughter said, why would somebody make a video of a fake shark on a beach in North Carolina? I said, well, they want to get some views, but for another, it keeps you entertained into the AI photography. Why are they creating whole worlds inside VR right now? Because they want us to be batteries and servants and not the right ones. They want us to be used, thrown away, not of service to feel joy. Earlier you said something about pain is the greatest motivator. I've got pain equals growth on my arm right here because
I got it on my
because
soul.
I've got a star. Pain's written down my spine and sends you. And there's a star in the shadows. Here? Yeah. And I thought, well, obviously I haven't seen that enough. I need to write it on my wrist.
Yeah. I have you're talking about Egyptian magic and technology, and the first tattoo I ever got was the Egyptian Ankh, and I did not know why, but now I've done my Rose Priestess mentorship, and I'm shamanic Rose Priestess, and very connected to Isis and Hathor.
They don't make real ankhs anymore, but ankhs were used in sexual practices, so you didn't waste your energy. Yep. A lot of people call it the coming up the 13 vertebrae is, and then the minute
the 13 vertebrae, and I have it right here.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I just got chills. I think you're teaching about me.
That creates the Christ consciousness. Yeah. But the minute you spew your seed, you lose it all.
Yeah.
But an ankh was used if I held it over my head and then put it over your head, that our energy would actually circulate, so we would never waste our Christ consciousness. We would actually, I would give it to you, and you'd give it back to me, we'd give it to each other, and that's what the ankh was used for. That's why it was such a wonderful tool, because it kept your vibration high, despite things like flooding life. Because, and we actually talk a lot about that in Reverence, about not wasting, and I said, well, there's waste and not waste, because they were talking about Christ consciousness, and it said, well, if you do that with life, you're still wasting it, so we have to figure out ways to not waste it, so we build each other, because if not, then you are just seeking instant gratification and not connection. And connection is what really makes that vibration raise in both partners. Yeah.
I mean, through the Rose Priestess lineage, I studied, well, not studied, but learned about sacred sexuality and techniques, tantra, and also just like how sacred that really is, that energy. It's life force, it's creative energy. So yeah, that's
for a long time.
Very long time. Oh, you didn't get that? Yep. Oh, I was like, yes, for a long time they've been doing that.
I slept with a lot of women growing up because my ego told me that's what I needed to do
to feel good about yourself, to feel wanted and desired.
And then for it, and then back for it, I really thought, and all that brought me stuff.
Yeah, I've learned to harness my sexual energy, like through my own experiences. Like I see a lot of people that are not spiritually aware, like if they are in a breakup or something, that's the first thing they do. Like to get over someone, you get under someone else, and that's just not the way that I mean, I've done that in the past, but I definitely have now cultivated my own. I have learned through my suffering how sacred I really am, and how important it is to harness that energy and not just give it out, because you are literally exchanging energy.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, you're exchanging DNA too.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wasteful times in my past where it was all out of narcissism, egotistical behavior, wanting to be the best at certain things, wanting to be known for certain things, just wanting the name to be out there, and it was all not necessarily the wrong reasons, but it was always painful. The drugs and the alcohol, the sex is always painful.
Getting outside of self.
Soul.
Yeah.
Luckily, the drugs and the alcohol numbed it for a time, and until they stopped working.
Until it works until it doesn't work,
Yeah.
and then you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then you pain again. It's like that crossroads of, am I going to go this way towards ascension, or am I going to stay in this pain?
Yeah. No matter what, pain causes growth. Either it causes negative growth or positive.
Oh yeah.
Oh, a bunch of pain. I'll just relax now.
No,
Either it gets worse or it gets better.
Yeah.
It doesn't stay.
Well, you mentioned the Reverence group again, and I think it's amazing, first of all, that there are men meeting and being there for other men and crying and being vulnerable and talking about hard things. And I love that you shared that you do kind of, well, you touched on a little bit about what you talk about, but if you want to talk about how often you guys meet, or if people wanted to join, like how would they join? And yeah, like what is the Reverence?
Yeah, there's a couple different Facebook groups. We have a Discord group. If you got anywhere on Facebook, you can find us.
Yeah.
But we meet every other Thursday, and it's always at somebody else's house because we want it to be co-facilitated by the men in the group, so that every group is different and there is no leader. There's nobody that runs it. There's nobody that owns it. It's everyone's. It's the world's. It's not just the 30 guys that show up to the meetings or the 5 guys that show up to the meetings. You know, the numbers fluctuate depending on what's going on in the world in people's lives. You know? But we talk on Facebook, we talk on Discord. We all have created wonderful bonds with each other. We're actually I've led men's circles in my house for the last 20 years. And I've helped I would say that my specialty is shadow work. Like, I help people find their demons and look at their demons and whether or not they live with that demon owning them and running their life. Because most of the decisions I've made in my life are based on selfishness, self-centeredness. That is my trouble, driven by fear, self-delusion, and self-pity.
Yeah.
You know, as long as I'm playing the victim, I'm scoring points. And if I can't play the victim, then I'm narcissist and I'm the best in the group. You know,
Yeah.
Egotistical.
With an inferiority complex. Yeah. Megalomaniac kind of.
I've been helping people, not just men, but people through those trials and those tribulations for the last 20 years. And I've grown real good at it. I've actually created my own packet that's like similar to the 12 steps. It's just way more intense, way deeper, and it also crosses off the eightfold path, and it crosses off the 7 deadly sins and the 7 holy virtues. So you actually see the way that you've been walking, talking, and living, how your attitude and your actions shape your perception into this. And hopefully through prayer, meditation, breath work, yoga, all the wonderful things that we do on a regular basis, hopefully through those things, you can keep your demons, your negativities, your whatever. And it just so happens I have to be of service to people. I have to constantly be serving others, or else, I mean, I got monsters inside.
Oh yeah.
I got demons that maybe they're in a cage, maybe some of them are dead, maybe my ego has stepped back so that my demons can't take ownership, you know, my fear can't take ownership. Yeah, but it's like, I'm not scared of alcohol or drugs at all. I'm scared of selfishness.
It's not the alcohol or the drugs.
Fear. I don't want fear to own me. Yeah. I did for so long. So as long as I stay of service to others, I'm one step ahead of any type of suffering. But I don't use suffering as a motivator. I do that. I use joy as a motivator.
I love
For
that.
a long time, suffering is the only thing that made me do the work to be better. But when the suffering is gone and I was better, then I got
you need a new motivator.
Then I get on my stuff again. On drugs or on
self-sabotage. Yeah, I feel that. I really do.
I seek healing service.
Yeah.
I hate how busy it makes me sometimes. I would like to just sit around and watch some TV every once in a while. But that's not my walk. Not today, at least. Maybe I'll be 75. I'll lose my feet in an accident, and I'll get to catch up on TV.
Oh
You
my
know?
God.
But
Yeah.
till then, it's just mandatory. I make time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that my perspective is definitely shifting as far as I don't want to have suffering be my motivator. Now it's like, if that doesn't feel good, I'm tired of not listening to that and ending up in so much fucking pain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I'm like, what's gonna actually feel good? Like, so my ego, my demons, right? And you were talking about demons and having them, and I have them too, absolutely. My shaman, my mentor from the Northeast, said to me once that for every person that has great light, there is that amount of dark. It's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I, started connecting with Archangel Michael, a very, very big light being. I was like, fuck, that means that I could also work with the other coin. Everything is a choice.
It really is.
Free will. So
I tell Sam 51%, 49%. Sometimes it's 49, 49.
Yeah.
50, 49.
Yeah. Like,
and like I'm barely on this side.
Like,
and
it's hard. I feel that so strongly, like, especially like in moments of anger for me. Anger is one of my things, for sure, that I've worked on for a long time. My thoughts sometimes go directly to a revenge thought, not like love and light. I'm like, no, fuck that. You know what I mean? But that's the humanness of this experience
When
too.
I bump into humans that are going bad, I don't think about revenge on them.
Uh-huh.
Even people that harm me, I don't necessarily think about revenge on them. Okay. It's finally time. I'm allowed to go murder pedophiles. Like,
yeah.
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 And that's where I'm at 51, 49%.
Yeah.
Today I'm 51%.
Yeah.
49%.
Yeah.
Like it would just take something just a little bit.
Just tiny.
For nobody to ever see me. Yeah,
Exactly.
nobody ever see me again. I just be gone.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because of me. Maybe it's because of what happened to my daughter. It's because of what happened to my mom. It's because of what happened to so many other people that have been broken, not to a point of unrepair, but broken to a point of self-sabotage. Broken to a point of hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like seeing that.
Yeah.
And if I could change that.
By killing some pedophiles, and why not?
That's what it kind of adds up to in my brain, but I'm a sick fuck.
Well,
so I'm going to keep on helping others.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, and I think that, but people will share with me sometimes like their aspirations, like I want to be this and I want to be that, and for me, it's just like I just want to be a good person, and if I can help one person, I'm good with that. And then I'm like, fuck, does that mean I'm like lazy? Like I don't have all these like crazy goals.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm just like, literally, it's as simple to me as like I want to be happy. Like people are like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? I'm like, I don't know, because I just want to live in now, like one day at a time, and be happy and be the best version of myself that I can be. And then, yeah, my ego is like, well, that's not very goal oriented.
I want to build 23 houses.
Okay.
And have some goats and chickens and build a huge building and let everybody use them and everything.
I love that.
That's what I mean. It's a big garden, lots of fruit trees, lots of berries.
Okay, I like that. I think
maybe some loincloths on the holidays.
Yeah, okay, I love that. Jason Momoa, does that. I don't know. I think I would want a fan. I do want a fan, but I don't know what that's like. But like there are goals. It's just not super uber specific. Yeah.
I was raised in a way to where no matter how badly your family treats you, they're still family. So you know them and love them forever. I rejected that because actually the saying blood is thicker than water, if you read the whole thing, it's the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which means the exact opposite of the way everybody uses it.
Oh.
Yeah, blood is thicker than water. It's the blood created in the family love with friends and the people you choose to be around is thicker than the water of the womb. Mm-hmm. And most people don't know that.
No, I mean, yeah, usually you think blood is thicker than water, so then that alliance is with your blood relations,
Yeah,
but
that's the exact
family,
opposite.
I agree. I agree. I think that, you know, family is also who you choose.
Yeah, yeah. And it's important to love your family.
Yeah.
So if there's people that you're blood related to that you don't love because they've treated you badly for years and years and years, then that's acceptable and that's okay.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I walk through, kind of consider myself this morning. And even though I preach in the Christian church, I've got Hermetics on me, I've got Vision of the World on me, you know. Anytime I can change something to help make it better, that's what my walk is. So today, my help is, or my need, my service is to help one person, then it's to help that person that's in my path.
Yeah.
If tomorrow it's to help 100 people, then it's
Then
100
that's
people.
what it is.
So as long as I keep getting things put in my path, I don't know if you know this, but a couple of the founders of Reverence and the founder of her sacred circle are doing family circles together now. We're actually going to children's circles and men and women co-ed circles, and we're all going to do this together because
I wanted to mention that, so
the
I'm glad that you are right
needs-
now.
and
Yeah.
that's coalescence.
That's
We're
going to be
about-
Saturday, right?
Yeah, this coming Saturday is our first meeting, and we're going to do them probably bi-monthly, tri-monthly, something like that. Just figure it out. I mean, who knows? Maybe this will go so well, and people will say, "We need this, we need this, we need this," and then we'll have more than we thought we were.
Yeah.
You know, you never know.
I remember, I've always been like a seer of sorts, and I remember I had a conversation with Leah like last year, and I was like, we were planning our Mary Magdalene event, and I was like, have you ever thought about doing an event with men? Like, we should have the men. And I was just voice noting with her the other night because we're pretty close, and she was like, I don't remember that, but I know that you definitely did. She was like, I know you're a seer, and now it's like happening. And I'm just so excited that it's happening, and I'm planning on being there Saturday. And then also, her and I had talked on the side about me potentially doing something with y'all.
We've
So,
talked about it too.
yeah, she said she talked to you guys about it. So I'm excited to like get back out there and like do my work and
I remember about a week ago. There's in it right now, and it's like until you called.
Oh, I got called. I think getting calls, and I'm like. Yeah, I'm actually, it is how it works.
When you called, you called.
Yeah.
And that's how, and
answer the call.
If you reject the call, then
they're
you're
gonna keep
rejecting
calling.
yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's who I am.
Yeah.
You know,
Who are you supposed to be? Are you supposed to be somebody that rejects calls, or are you supposed to be somebody that answers?
I'm answering the call. I'm going to do private Reiki 2 attunement Saturday morning, and been asked to teach and do shamanic consultations again. So. And in helping others, I help and heal myself, right?
It's kind of the only way.
It is the only way. This is the way. You said the Mandalorian, and I love the Mandalorian. So. And
it's like if you sit downstairs and meditate, maybe you'll
by yourself.
Maybe you won't. But what service have you done for the world? You know, even if you sit and meditate until you transcend, say 6 months from now, doing you shrink up and boom, you're gone. What service is that? Right. You know? Yeah. I don't think there's any greater way to live on this plane, this reality, on this planet without being service. I agree. Empathetic service.
There's what else is there? Because then it's just us in our own little fishbowl, like we're not doing anything.
Emptiness.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
No.
Even somebody like you, what did he do? He sat there and he talked and they rubbed his feet and loved him, but loved them back. And he changed the world for those people, you know? And there was millions of people that have changed. Think about how many people Ram Dass and Krishna Das have touched since they met. Created a waterfall or a tsunami. He told Ram Dass, he said, no matter what, don't ever speak about it. You know why he said that? Because he knew Ram Dass was going to speak about him, and he wanted Ram Dass to also write. Yeah. And Baba told me never to speak about it. You know, he knew what he knew the whole thing, beginning to end. Still lived it, because that's what he was supposed to do. That's all we're all supposed to do. Whether or not I know my end game, that I'm not going to die in a car wreck tomorrow, whatever it is that I think I know. It doesn't matter because when I was here, I was of service, and that's what's most important. And yeah, it took some time.
It
It
does
took
take
some
time.
suffering. Time takes time.
Time does take time. I do like that one. There's a lot of like sayings. And I am grateful because I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm grateful that you asked me to do this in person. This has been so cool. Like I feel like we're on our own show. I like forgot. I forgot that was there.
They're still there. I keep glancing at them.
I know. I'm like I forgot that was there. This is just so cool. I feel like we could talk literally for hours. I don't even know how long we've been talking. I've been looking at my watch and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know either. Is there anything else that you want to share right now? Like we already planned before we started recording. There's going to be a part 2.
I've really, there's something that cold plunges has done for me. It's almost like getting comfortable being uncomfortable is the art of suffering when we don't have anything to suffer of. You know, and there's something that reboots in me when I do it every morning that has changed the way I meditate and changed the way I look to others. It's changed. Like I've never been real bad with like say road rage or something like that. Somebody cuts me off and I automatically think, oh, they're on vacation. It would be nice to be on vacation. I remember last year when I was on vacation, I didn't know where I was going to. You know, I've always thought positively.
Oh wow, bless, job bless.
Yeah, but now when they come, it's like there's nothing that can be so important for me to get upset. Don't you know? I sang one this morning. Yeah. So things like that. I just recently got into sound healing.
Me too.
I've studied Reiki in the past. I've studied Wicca in the past. I've studied pretty much every religion there is, and I've created it all back to Hermetics. It's all based off of Hermetics, and I understand that. And everybody, humanity as a whole, needs to follow. You know, if you notice that, we either follow a political party, follow our country,
there has
follow
to be
a religion.
something.
You know, humanity as a whole needs to follow. And I don't want to be followed. I just want to walk a path. And me walking that path has caused other people to heal around me. And it's not admirable. It's no greater walk that I've ever had than the walk I do now. To see people, they see the light in their eyes back on, see people grow, see people become who they were always supposed to be, like to be able to be a part of that. It's such an honor.
I just was talking about that with Andrew.
Yeah. It's such a blessing. Like I remember it too.
Yeah.
I've seen so many rough cases and hopeless cases get turned around to be who they were always supposed to be. And I can't walking through life a different way than being able to be a part of that.
I love that so much. And it inspired me to share that I was not doing my podcast. I wasn't doing anything. And just recently, I went to the event that Stevie and you had, and you said to me, I'm ready. And I'm like, for what? And you said, to be on your podcast. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm not really doing that, but I guess I am doing it again. And you inspired me to start this up again. And I'm grateful for you to that. And then also, it just reminded me of, we were at the soul gathering one day. And, you know, just the things that I've experienced, I still was showing up for myself, even though I was broken and sad and crying the whole way. But like, you know, like people got me out of my apartment and were like, come, we love you. And you told me like, it's good to see you. And I was like, thanks, you too. And you were like, no, like, it's good to see you, like see you. And it made me cry because I was like, yeah, you're right.
These are the things that rebuild the rest of your life.
And you also said to me that you hadn't really seen me in a while because I was doing what I was doing, you know what I'm saying? And covering myself. So it is amazing to witness people like light in them turn back on, you know? Oh, no, not that one. It will pop up on my computer.
It's got a nice dismissal, so at least you know you can shut it off.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say thank you because you've always been a source of light, and I aspire to be that. And I also respect myself when I know I don't have anything to give and then give him time, but God thinks that I have something to give now. You know what I mean? But trying to honor also.
Something changed in me
Yeah.
the night that I went to the Akashic record.
Yeah, I did an Akashic. Allison and I did an Akashic record. English. I wanted to mention that about my Akashic name. It means it's Ashalika and it means transmuter, which means changer. Whether you alchemist, whether you like it or not, literally, like your interactions and experiences with me will change you. I think that's why a lot of people really love me or they despise me. They can't be around me. And I know you have a similar reaction to
lots of people blame it on my smile.
Sarah
like,
and I have talked about I felt like how people love me or they fucking hate me. And she's like, oh, Hance feels the same thing. I'm like, of course he does. I feel like we're the same.
Yeah, and I guess
that's okay.
Not liking me. I'm good at not liking my smile. That's fine. I'm still gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, so what happened for you for the Akashic record? You couldn't wait to leave.
Yeah, I needed to get out of there. I don't know. It was there was a lot of lately through breath work and my deeper meditation practices. There's been a lot of animals come through. Like I've been the mother lioness.
Yeah.
I've been the great white shark. I don't know if it's great white. It's just easy to say. But every time I ate, there was hundreds of fish underneath that got to it. You know, things like that. But that was the first time I ever seen my higher self the way that I see it every single time now. And
that's so amazing.
It's tough to explain, but when you first see Gandalf the White, after he comes back, and you can't see his face because his light is glowing, it's just his skin is glowing with bright white light, and his hair's long, his beard's long, and everything's glowing white. And he actually cussed me out recently. It's like, I told you to write, you know, he's got to get mean with me because I've had a rough past, I guess. But like every single time I do this holotropic breath work,
I'm going next Wednesday.
Which
the 19th.
Oh, I'm going on the 12th. And the 26th, I'm going for the advanced class.
Oh, okay.
That's like a solid holotropic instead of 27.
Okay.
Yeah. So let you go to that one after you've been with the others.
I've done a personal one-on-one with her.
Oh, nice. Was that like 2 hours?
It was an hour, and I experienced myself, and I brought the way God, like I became a celestial body. Like I became the stars, and I just cried, and it was so amazing. Holotropic breath work is next level.
Yeah, it was created actually by the guy who brought LSD to America.
Yeah.
And then when LSD became illegal, he searched throughout the world
DMT.
How to produce DMT, and at the end of it, this type.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And some of the other breath works, you know, dragon breath and Wim Hof, they get me there too. You know, there's box breath that I do every morning, and I love that. But this is like binaural beats for me. It's a different dimension, and when I'm there, I always pick up tools that I can use here. And that's what it's all about. And it's not about using people, it's about using tools to help. And I'm finally starting to learn. There's so much more to grow. And I mean, every single day I'm a better version of myself. And I learn more and more about religions and spirituality, quantum physics, and all these things. And every single time I learn something new, I get excited because there's so many millions of them.
I know. All I know is I know nothing.
Yeah,
I love. Oh God, I love all those shows that you mentioned too, and movies.
It's a part of life. You can
Yeah.
have empathy in movies. That's why I cry so much during the week, is because of how.
During the week.
And yeah, the weekends I cry way more. The
I
reason
love
I
it.
cry so much during the week.
Yeah.
And I empathy when I'm watching a show.
Yeah.
I see an old lady crossing the street. I see,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or an older woman, not an old lady. It's kind of,
Yeah.
that's my biker talk.
Oh God. Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm grateful that we were able to do this. It's a
I'm
cool way to do this
Yeah.
conversation. Is yeah, I mean, I guess that we've probably been talking for an hour, so
Oh,
that's
sure.
good. How can people contact you if you want them to contact you? Or I know you shared about Reverence. I don't know, do you want your contact information?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
mind. To contact me for like shadow work packet, my email is hancecarver31@gmail.com. Hance is a weird name. I understand that it's HANCE, like the Lance or Chance. Facebook profile, Hance Carver, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. I'm on there. I live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I think that's about it. I mean, you could call me. My phone number is 852-455-2459. But most people don't like to call. So it doesn't really matter. I get like 40 fake calls a day. I might as well get some good calls too.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, for sure. Well,
Everybody's at it.
right. Well, thank you so much.
You're
love
so very
you.
welcome. I love you.
I appreciate
Thank
you.
you for coming and doing this face to face.
I know. I'm like, I love you. Thank you. And yeah, connect with Hance, or if you're a dude and you, if you're a dude,
That's your biker talk.
Yeah, it is my biker talk, I guess. Dudes can contact Hance for the Reverence group. And if you want to get sober, hit up Bill W. Because there's meetings for that, y'all. So we love you and have a blessed rest of your week. Thank you all. Bye bye.